The house had always been loud during the holidays. Not the kind of loud that felt chaotic, but the kind that wrapped itself around you like a warm blanket, full of overlapping voices, clattering dishes, and laughter that refused to stay inside a single room. This year, however, the air carried a different weight. It was not silence exactly, but something quieter, something careful. Darlene stood near the kitchen table, flipping through a notebook that had more crossed-out lines than actual plans. She sighed, then looked up at Jackie. So, since your mom used to handle the holidays, I thought we should talk about a game plan for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Jackie leaned against the counter, arms folded, expression thoughtful for exactly half a second before she shrugged. Oh, I say we follow the Connor tradition. Spend every dime we have on Halloween. And then we have nothing to be thankful for or buy gifts with. Darlene almost smiled. Almost. Before she could respond, the front door opened, and a small voice called out, "Hi, Mom." Darlene turned, her face softening instantly. "Hiya, Jackie," she echoed playfully, then corrected herself with a small laugh. "Hey, how was school?" Mary dropped her backpack by the door, full of energy. "Good. We are learning about democracy." Jackie raised an eyebrow. "Oh, it is a class in ancient history." "Ah." Mary ignored the joke, as children often do when they are focused on something important. "We are doing projects about the election. I am going to take a poll at the mall to see how people voted." Darlene froze for a second, then nodded slowly. "Oh, good." Jackie, on the other hand, did not hesitate. "My 11-year-old approaching strangers at the mall. Why do we not double down and just have you hitchhike there?" Mary crossed her arms. "No. You are taking me." Jackie straightened up. "Oh, I cannot. I have to work that day." Mary narrowed her eyes. "I did not tell you what day it was." Jackie blinked. "Oh, you did not? Well, let us not get bogged down in," he said. She said. Darlene stepped in. "All right. What day is it?" "Saturday." Jackie snapped her fingers. "How about that? I actually have to work that day." Darlene sighed. "Already tired." "Well, I am free on Saturday. I would love to help." She knelt slightly to meet Mary at eye level. "I think it is great that you are hungry to learn about how democracy is supposed to work. It is up to you young people to breathe new life into it." Mary smiled, satisfied. From outside, a voice suddenly called out, "Guys, you gotta see this." Darlene and Jackie exchanged a look before stepping toward the front door. They opened it and found Dan sitting on the porch, watching television through the open window. Jackie tilted her head. "Why is he outside?" Darlene answered dryly. "He is watching TV." Jackie nodded. "Yes, that is the obvious explanation. Now let us dig a little deeper." Darlene watched Dan for a moment, her expression shifting. "I think the shock of losing your mom has worn off. And now he is just sad. But he does not want us to see it." Jackie folded her arms. "Well, watching TV from the porch is not a good way to hide it." Darlene sighed. "He has been isolating himself more and more." Jackie added quietly, "Before you know it, he will be across the street." Darlene shook her head. "Oh, he will go as far as that remote will let him." They stepped outside. Dan glanced at them. "What is up?" Jackie gestured around. "Watching TV from the porch." "Cool. Quick question." "What?" Dan shrugged. "I wanted to watch TV, and I am getting some fresh air. Also looking for a little alone time." He looked at them. "Do not mind us." Darlene nodded slowly. "Yeah, that is healthy." Jackie added, "Sure. Glad you feel that way." Then she leaned closer. "But we will not know until we test it." Dan exhaled sharply. "If you are going to track me like a wounded animal, do the decent thing and shoot me." Darlene softened. "Dan, you cannot avoid our love. You have been through a huge loss. Tell us what you are feeling." Dan looked at her, then at Jackie. Then back at the television. I am having a very strong feeling. They leaned in slightly. My sister-in-law is badgering me, and I want her to leave my garage. Jackie stepped back. Okay. That tracks. Darlene tried again. Maybe you do not want to talk to us, but you have to talk to somebody. She hesitated, then added, I went to a support group when Mark died. It really helped me. Then did not respond. Jackie chimed in. There you go. Tell him what you got out of it. Darlene thought for a moment. I talked to nice old men who have tennis bracelets, but no one to wear them. Dan blinked. That does not sound helpful. Jackie shrugged. It says Tiffany, but that is just the wife's name. Dan stood up slowly. I will call you if I need you. He started walking away. Darlene called after him. You left your phone by the bike. Dan did not turn around. Exactly. Inside the house. Life continued in its usual uneven rhythm. Gina had returned, bringing with her a different kind of order, one that clashed gently with the chaos everyone else had accepted. She stood in the living room, holding a brush. Okay, ladies, now that I am back, I want to show you all how Mary's hair should be done. It is a simple 10-step process that should take no longer than 3 hours. Darlene stared at her, looking at my hair. Did you ever think I had a realistic chance of getting hers right? Gina ignored the comment. The car is packed. We need to stop by the PX to get Mary some new church clothes. Mary looked up. We do not go to church. Gina blinked. Excuse me. Darlene waved a hand. Kids have rich fantasy lives. Gina did not smile. When was the last time she was in church? Darlene hesitated. It is funny the tricks time can play on you. Gina crossed her arms. How long? Darlene sighed. About a year. Gina looked at DJ. How long? DJ looked guilty. 2 years. Gina stared at him. 2 years? That is almost the whole time I was gone. DJ shifted. In my defense, we have never really been religious people. Gina shook her head. Well, some of us go regularly. My family is going to church. Mary frowned. Aunt Darlene does not make Mark and Harris go. Why do I have to? Gina answered simply. Because I said so. Across town, plans were forming, failing, and reforming all at once. Friends gathered. Attempts were made. Conversations stumbled. Dan resisted all of it. At the support group, he sat among strangers who spoke and practiced honesty. When it was his turn, he said only what he could. My wife died. They waited. And he shrugged. I try to be a good person. I played by the rules. And this is what I get. His voice did not rise. It did not break. It simply stayed where it was. I am 66 years old, and I have to live the rest of my life without her. Silence followed. But it was not empty. It was shared. Later, outside a church he could not bring himself to enter, Dan stood alone. The building behind him was full of voices raised in song, in belief, in hope. He looked at the door, then away. I am not in a great place with God right now, he admitted quietly to Darlene. She did not argue. Then do it your way. And so he did. Not with grand gestures. Not with answers. But with small, stubborn steps forward. A ride. A memory. A laugh that came unexpectedly. A conversation that did not fix anything but made the silence less heavy. Inside the church, Mary sang, This little light of mine, I am gonna let it shine. Her voice was clear, certain in a way only children can be. Outside, Dan listened, not to the words exactly, but to the feeling behind them. And for the first time in a long while, something shifted. Not a solution, not a miracle, just a small opening, like a window cracked on a quiet evening, enough to let a little light in. The house had grown quieter in a way that no one had planned for, and yet everyone felt it settling into the walls like a second coat of paint that no one had asked for but could not scrape away. It was not just the absence of a voice, though that was part of it. It was the absence of a rhythm, a certain kind of order that had once made even the chaos feel like it belonged somewhere. Now the chaos wandered freely, bumping into people and furniture alike, unsure where to sit or how to behave. Darlene stood in the kitchen with a cup of coffee that had gone cold long before she noticed. She stared at the table as if it might offer her a solution, or at least a suggestion. Jackie leaned against the counter, watching her sister with the careful patience of someone who had decided to help whether it was welcomed or not. "So," Darlene began, her voice steady but carrying the weight of something unspoken. "Since Mom used to handle the holidays, I thought we should talk about a plan for Thanksgiving and Christmas." Jackie lifted her eyebrows, considering this with theatrical seriousness. "I say we follow the Connor tradition," she replied. "Spend every dime we have on Halloween. And then we have nothing left to be thankful for or buy gifts with." The joke landed softly, like a familiar song played at low volume. It did not fix anything, but it made the silence less sharp. "Hi, Mom," came a voice from the doorway. They turned to see Mary, her backpack slipping off one shoulder as she stepped inside. Her eyes carried the brightness of someone who still believed the world made sense if you asked the right questions. "Hiya, Jackie," she added, waving. Jackie smiled. "Hey, how was school?" "Good," Mary said, dropping her bag. "We are learning about democracy." Darlene snorted lightly. "Oh, it is a class in ancient history." "Huh." Mary rolled her eyes in the way only a child could, half amused and half offended. "We are doing projects about the election. I am going to take a poll at the mall to see how people voted." Jackie's smile froze for a moment. "Oh, good," she said. "My 11-year-old approaching strangers at the mall. Why do we not double down and just have you hitchhike there?" "You are taking me," Mary said firmly. Darlene raised a hand. "I cannot. I have to work that day." "You did not ask what day it was," Mary pointed out. Darlene sighed. "Let us not get stuck in who said what. What day is it?" "Saturday." Darlene paused, then nodded slowly. "Well, look at that. I actually have to work that day." Jackie straightened up immediately. "I am free on Saturday. I would love to help. I think it is great that you want to learn how democracy is supposed to work. It is up to you young people to breathe new life into this whole thing." Mary grinned, satisfied, and disappeared down the hallway. For a moment, things felt almost normal. Then Jackie glanced out the window. "Guys," she said quietly, "you have got to see this." Darlene joined her, peering outside. There, on the porch, sat Dan. He was watching television through the open door, the glow flickering faintly across his face as he leaned back in a chair that seemed too small for him. "Why is he outside?" Jackie asked. "He is watching television," Darlene replied. "Yes, that is the obvious explanation," Jackie said. "Let us go deeper." Darlene crossed her arms. "I think the shock has worn off. And now he is just depressed. But he does not want us to see it." Jackie nodded slowly. "Watching television from the porch is not a great way to hide that." They stepped outside together. Dan glanced at them, unimpressed. "What is up?" "Watching television from the porch," Jackie said. "Cool. Quick question." "What?" Dan shrugged. "I wanted to watch television. And I am getting some fresh air. Also looking for a little alone time." "Do not mind us," Darlene said. "Yeah," Jackie added. "That sounds healthy." Dan narrowed his eyes slightly. "I am glad you feel that way. But we will not know until we test it," Jackie continued. Dan sighed deeply. "If you are going to track me like a wounded animal, do the decent thing and put me out of my misery." "Dan," Jackie said gently, "you cannot avoid our love. You have been through a huge loss. Tell us what you are feeling." Dan looked at her for a long moment. "I am having a very strong feeling," he said finally. "My sister-in-law is badgering me, and I want her to leave my garage." The words were sharp, but they were alive, and that mattered. Inside, the house continued its slow adjustment to the new shape of things. Later that evening, Darlene gathered a group of Dan's friends, hoping that familiarity might succeed where family had failed. They arrived with awkward smiles and easy jokes, carrying with them the fragile optimism of people who wanted to help but did not quite know how. When Dan walked in and saw